Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling strangely compelled to agree to something you wouldn't normally do? What if I told you that you might have just experienced one of the most cunning forms of manipulation without even knowing it? Today, we're uncovering the subtle signs of manipulation being used against you. This often slips under your radar, exactly as the manipulator intends. We'll identify 8 quiet but powerful indicators that someone might be manipulating your decisions and relationships. Understanding these signs is your first step to safeguarding your autonomy. Let's expose these hidden tactics and learn how to counteract them. Sign 1. Excessive compliments. Flattery can feel good. It boosts our ego, makes us feel seen and valued. But when the praise is laid on too thick, it may be the first thread in a web of manipulation. Excessive compliments can often serve as a psychological tool designed to lower your defenses. A manipulator uses this tactic to disarm you, creating a sense of gratitude and obligation. It can feel uncomfortable to question someone's positive view of us, but this is precisely what a skilled manipulator banks on. They know that once they've gained your trust with a barrage of kudos, you're more likely to overlook subtle requests or agree to favors you wouldn't normally consider. It's a clever ploy that can turn the warmth of approval into a trap of compliance. When flattery feels out of place or overdone, it may be a sign that someone is trying to manipulate you into their corner. Sign 2. Divide and conquer. Divide and conquer is a classic manipulation strategy with deep roots in both history and personal relationships. It unfolds when a manipulator intentionally sows discord among a group, breaking down previously strong alliances to prevent unified opposition to their agenda. They might spread rumors, play on insecurities, or share secrets to pit people against each other, often under the guise of concern or confidentiality. The phrase you might hear could go something like, "I thought you should know what others have been saying about you," or "I trust you, so don't tell anyone else I said this." These tactics cause individuals to doubt their peers and question who they can trust, effectively isolating them. This fragmentation gives the manipulator a chance to exert influence without the check of a collective consensus. The resulting strife makes it easier for the manipulator to control and manipulate each person individually. Be cautious if you notice someone showing excessive interest in the conflicts of others, or when you feel pushed away from friends or allies. It could be a sign of divide and conquer in play. Sign 3. Isolation tactics. Isolation is a classic move in the manipulator's playbook. By subtly driving wedges between you and your loved ones, a manipulator can gain a frightening level of control over your life. They might start by criticizing your closest friends and family members, planting the idea that these people don't truly understand or support you. Or they could monopolize your time and attention, making it difficult for you to maintain other relationships. The rationale might seem caring at first. "I just want us to spend more time together." But the underlying motive is to strip away your support network, making you more dependent on them for social interaction and validation. This dependency leaves you vulnerable to further manipulation, as you may feel you have nowhere else to turn. Recognizing when someone is trying to cut the threads that connect you to others is crucial for maintaining your independence and mental well-being. Sign 4. Guilt tripping. Guilt tripping is a powerful emotional lever used by manipulators to control others. It involves making someone feel an excessive sense of responsibility or remorse over actions that are often reasonable or necessary. The manipulator might say things like, "After all I've done for you, you're going to refuse me this one thing?" Or, "If you really cared about me, you wouldn't hesitate to do this." By invoking guilt, they prey on their target's conscience and sense of obligation, often compelling them to act against their will or better judgment. This tactic can be especially potent because it taps into the victim's empathy and desire to be a good person, twisting these virtues into chains that bind them to the manipulator's will. Watch out for feelings of guilt that seem disproportionate to the situation at hand. This could be a sign that someone is trying to manipulate you through your own emotions. Sign 5. Selective memory. Selective memory can be a subtle, yet insidious form of manipulation. It involves a person feigning forgetfulness or denying certain events or conversations ever happened. The manipulator might conveniently forget promises or agreements they've made, or refute statements they've clearly expressed, asserting, "I never said that," or "You must have misunderstood me." This tactic can lead their target to question their own recollection of events and conversations, fostering self-doubt and confusion. By selectively remembering details that favor them and forgetting those that don't, the manipulator avoids taking responsibility for their words or actions. This strategy is particularly effective because it directly attacks the victim's perception of reality, shaking their confidence. It turns memory into a battleground, with the manipulator often rewriting the past to fit their narrative. Be vigilant when you notice consistent discrepancies between your memory and another person's claims. It may be an attempt to manipulate you through selective memory. Sign 6. Playing the victim. Manipulators can be theatrical, often casting themselves in the role of the victim to exploit the compassion of those around them. This tactic involves curating a narrative where they've been wronged, suffered greatly, or faced injustices, compelling others to offer support or concede to their demands out of sympathy. You might encounter statements like, "Nothing ever goes right for me," or "I'm always the one who gets hurt." This strategy manipulates the natural human response to comfort and aid those in distress. However, when someone consistently plays the victim, particularly to divert attention from their actions or to gain from others, it's a manipulation technique. It's essential to differentiate between genuine distress and manipulative self-victimization. If you find yourself frequently compelled to rescue the same person from their perpetual misfortunes, consider whether you're being moved by authentic concern or manipulated by a constructed sense of obligation. Sign 7. Passive-aggressive behavior. Passive-aggressive behavior is a manipulator's silent weapon. It's an indirect expression of hostility, such as through procrastination, sullenness, or deliberate failures to meet obligations. Instead of openly expressing their discontent, the manipulator will act out in subtle, often spiteful ways. For instance, they may agree to perform a task but then forget to do it, or they might give backhanded compliments to undermine someone's confidence while maintaining a veneer of civility. The phrase, "I'm not mad," might be accompanied by a cold shoulder or slight jabs that suggest the opposite. This behavior can be particularly confusing and frustrating for victims, as it allows the manipulator to deny any malicious intent while still inflicting harm and maintaining control. It's a tactic that avoids direct confrontation but can be just as damaging, leaving the victim questioning their interpretation of events and the manipulator's true intentions. Sign 8. Keeping score. Manipulators often engage in a transactional form of interaction, where they keep a mental ledger of favors and good deeds they've done for others. Unlike a genuine act of kindness, these good deeds come with strings attached. They are investments from which the manipulator expects to reap rewards. They'll remind you of the time they helped you move, or the occasion they lent you money, not as fond memories, but as debts you now owe. "Remember when I" becomes a common refrain, used to guilt you into reciprocating beyond what's fair or reasonable. This scorekeeping is a manipulative tactic designed to create a sense of indebtedness, making it difficult for you to refuse requests without feeling selfish or ungrateful. It's crucial to recognize this dynamic and understand that true generosity doesn't keep tabs. It's given freely without expectation of a return. These tactics can often slip under the radar, but knowing them helps you stay vigilant and protect your mental space. Trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. Remember, setting healthy boundaries is not just your right, it's your responsibility. Share your experiences in the comments below. Your story could be the sign that someone else needs to see.